I'm back. I'm talking to you all morning through everything you see. Welcome to service today. It's exciting to be here with you. Pastor Sherwood just giving me the opportunity to even stand up here and to be a part of this. I'm really just grateful that he would do that, and just thankful to be in the house with you guys today. So I feel like that I have just kind of a word that I feel like the Lord's given me, maybe to me in this season, but I definitely feel like it may be to all of you guys as well. And so I want to do that today. I'm not going to do it. I wore a t-shirt out here. I was going to get up here and be like, I'm so sorry it's so hot in here and we're all sweating and the airs are messed up and we don't. Hopefully Pastor Sherwood was watching it and I was going to send him into a panic wherever he was at. But Pastor, I'm just joking. For real. Everything's great here. Don't worry about it at all. He'd be like, I'm not letting you do this again. But excited to be here with you this morning. There's one of the songs Lizzie sang, and it's talking about Jesus specifically. It says, you are here to reveal the kingdom that is to come, and you're here to reconcile that which is lost. And I didn't know about that line in that song, but she sang it even first service, and I think that that's just kind of a culmination of what I want to talk about today. My title is Timing is Everything, because I think a lot of us get really frustrated about where we're at, or that God's not moving, or what are we doing, God? Why am I still here? Why am I still at this job? Why is this situation still going on in my life? Why have they not come home? What is the holdup, basically? God, I love you. I'm praying. I'm reading. I'm trying to do what's best and what's right and what's wrong. Not trying to do what's wrong. Trying not to do what's wrong. And I just think that sometimes we grow frustrated, and I think that a lot of times the problem is not where we're at, and the problem is not what's right, and the problem is not what's wrong, I think the problem is understanding timing. And I think if we understand timing, and we learn how to use timing to our advantage, then it will kind of pull out those frustrated seasons that we get into in our lives. So I want to do that today, but Pastor Sherwood's been in a series probably for 3 weeks. This would be week 3, but all he has talked about is just Jesus. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. So as a culmination of that, even the song that was sung, the revealer of things to come, the reconciler of all that is lost, that is Jesus. And I want him, just to follow Pastor Sherwood, to be the main topic of what I'm talking about. So even though it says time, I want you to hear today that Jesus is the answer. Jesus is the real answer. So in Matthew 13, you can go ahead and turn there if you want to. I'm going to read a parable that starts in verse 24. So we'll go 24 to verse 30, and I'm going to read it to you real quick. As you turn, it says this. Jesus told them another parable. This is Matthew 13, 24. And he said, the kingdom of heaven is like, I'll say that again, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, and the enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and then went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, Sir, didn't you sow good seed in the field? Where then did the weeds come from? The enemy did this, he replied. The servants asked him, do you want us to go pull up? And he said, no, because while you are pulling up the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. Let them both grow together until the harvest. And at that time, I will tell the harvesters, first collect the weeds, tie them in bundles to be burned. Then gather the wheat and bring it into the barn. So in this story, if you really look at the story, he's not talking about harvest. He's not really talking about wheat. He's not really talking about weeds. He's not even talking about the enemy, even though he's making us aware of all those things. What he is talking about is time itself. So immediately he says, no, don't pull them up. Today's not the day. And in fact, he says, don't do nothing other than listen to what I have to tell you about the time and the season that they're in. And in knowing where they are, you can also be told and understand when to pull them and how to pull them. So really, he's talking about time, and so timing is everything. Time is a measure of hours and minutes. It is for us to plan, schedule, or arrange when something should happen or should be done. I wrote it down like this, that time is the great vehicle. It is a gift. God God has stepped outside of time. If you ask me, a lot of us blame time for everything. I don't have time to do this. Why do we have time? Why am I trapped in time? I'm not doing anything except headed toward death. I'm not doing anything except aging. I'm not doing anything. Like, time is always a problem. But if we saw it right, time is the greatest gift that God didn't have himself or live in himself, and he arranged time and set it and gave it to us as a product of delivering the things we need in the moments where we need it or where he's assigned for us to have it. So I titled this, The Goodness of a Waiting Father and the Goodness of a Planning Father. It's the difference between, so God has done this with time. When there's things that he has for our life for us, he has developed time first so that we don't get things too soon. I don't know that I've ever really spoke in here with my whole family in here. Well, Demi's still over there, but especially the boys in here, they're about to be real shocked at how many stories I'm about to tell about them. I've never had them in here to hear stories I told about them, but I'm about to. So God develops time for us. And if we understand it, we understand timing is everything, then we learn how to get everything he has for us through time. And so one of the greatest things that God does is he puts everything on a clock so he doesn't give things before we're ready. So wanting to be a good father, as soon as my kids were to come say, Dad, can I have this? Dad, can we do this? Dad, can we go there? When I'm only focused on being a good father, I want to say yes, 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 yes. But then sometimes I have to say no, not because I don't want to give them that, but because it's not good for them at this time. If they got it at this time, it would ruin it. Or if they got it in this time, it would affect them terribly. It would ruin it for them. It is like people talk about, I don't know, personally, I don't even play it, but people that have won the lottery, that weren't ready, weren't responsible, didn't know how to manage it, and they won, and within a year it's gone. Spend it all, it's gone. They didn't make businesses with it. They didn't set themselves up, like it's gone. We are at point A, driving to gas stations, hoping this all happens again because they weren't ready for it. So if he didn't do things on a time frame to where there's time for us to wait for things, then everything would fall to us as if it was winning a prize, and we're not ready for it yet. So, and understanding the time will help you. So, Roman and Parker are so into fishing right now. It is the hottest it's ever been in the world right now. In the world. And I think the bugs like that it's hotter. It's not killing them on the spot, it's killing me on the spot. And they are begging to go fishing. Last night, it's 7 o'clock. Dad, take us fishing. Dad, take us fishing. I'm like, all right, get in the truck, let's go. And we're the only thing cooking out there. We're not making fish. We're not getting anything. Nothing's biting. If they're in the ponds, they are hiding in the deepest depths, trying to make sure their skin stays on because it's that hot. But I'm just saying yes because I want to be with them. I want to spend time with them. But I'm realizing that if I am not better at waiting, fishing is a great thing. Fishing can provide things. But fishing is also understanding the times of it. It's very seasonal. You can do it at sometimes and catch. You can do it at sometimes and not catch. You have to understand the times. But this is at their age, if I just keep saying yes but don't explain the time of season and we keep catching nothing, fishing will always be a season that could have been amazing, and they'll always dread it and never want to partake it because they started operating in that season before time for it. And so it will kill how great it could be. It could kill the fulfillment it could bring, and it could completely change their thought process behind enjoying seasons of things because I didn't teach them to wait. I didn't teach them the timing. I didn't teach them the seasons. So a good father will wait instead of delivering something to you out of time and letting it ruin your season, letting it ruin who you are, where you're at in your life. But also, our God is a God of promises. He has promised us things, and it says that his word will not return to us void, meaning if he's promised things over your life, it will come to pass. So he also does this. Time is so the things that he's promised, he hangs them almost on the conveyor belt of time, and it's promised to arrive to you at some point. You're going to get there, you're going to arrive, you're going to blah, blah. And these things that he's purposed are going to fall to you, and I would call that inheritance. So the waiting Father and then the planning Father, he has planned things for you, and it's not on him to make sure he holds off and keeps them even longer. It is for you to make sure you are at that divine place and moment to where he's ready to put you in that place that those things can fall to you. So it's the difference between being given a gift undeserved or you're not ready for it, and being given your inheritance. And he is both of those things, but it's time that allows him to do that. It is time that allows us to be successful in his purposes and in his callings and in his presence and the things he has for us. Without time, we couldn't receive inheritances. Without time, we couldn't gain the things that he has set aside for us. So Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1 says this: to everything, no, there is a time for everything. A season for every activity under the heavens. Next. A time to be born, a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to root up. Stay there. Being born and a time to die is just the automatic scale of time you're on when you're born. But the very next thing, a time to plant and a time to uproot, if we can concept and understand and learn those two elements of time itself, we'll completely be free from a lot of the lack, a lot of the frustration, a lot of the loneliness, a lot of feeling like we're spinning the tires of life and we're stuck in a rut that's not moving. We can eliminate most of those things to where we blame God because he hasn't come through yet, or we don't know where he's at, and then we spend more time in our own lives trying to dissect and fix all these little pieces and hollering at people and trying to fix the chaos because we're wanting things to arrive we feel like God has promised to us. And if we just understood what time we're in, a lot of times it would help us make it there. You skip on down, eventually he says this: he has made everything to be beautiful in its time. He's made everything to be beautiful in its time. So, because of that, you have to understand time. Most things that you get, you have to understand, one of the first ways is that you have to decide and understand what is supposed to be in your life, not supposed to be in your life. God operates through seasons. So most things you get are seasonal. It doesn't mean that you let them go, doesn't mean you throw them away. It means that your operation with those things are seasonal. So a past opportunity, a past group of people in your life. If you keep treating people in your life or opportunity that was given from God as if you don't see them as seasonal and try to figure that out, it is like bringing your summer gear into winter. Or it is like you only owning winter gear because you refuse to do anything else, and you needing to go to work in the Bahamas, and you show up miserable because you have long sleeves and jackets and boots, and you're going to get out there and fry. It's not going to work. And so what you have to decide, number one, is what is for you in this season, but also one of the things that keeps us from stepping into the next season is because we don't understand timing. This is what I have to say. People are not bad. The blessing did not turn into a curse. The past opportunity God gave you didn't turn into bondage. Time just changed. They're not the enemy. It's not the devil. Time changed. And he wants you to now figure out how to take those things into the next season, or how to leave them outside of the next season. And at the end of this, you'll find out God will take those things and opportunities and people and bring them back around in the cycle to bring them back to your life if he put them there in your life. But a lot of times, and two, we don't even step into the next season. We will not jump into the next season God has for us because we can't take this opportunity and we can't take these people with us. And you start to decide what's God and what's not God based on what you have and if it fits in this next thing. And you cannot decide on what God has for you if it's the next phase for your life based on what you currently have and if it fits there. That's not the way you decide what's going on in your life next. So you have to be careful, and you have to know the difference in time. You have to know the difference in time to plant. You have to know the difference in time to pluck. The time for you is plucking. The time for you in your season is the plucking season. The time for others, more time spent with God, time with your kids, time with family, time with community, all of that is planting. All of that's planting. And if you misuse the time, you'll miss it altogether, because you'll be in seasons that are for other people, and you'll be messing yourself up because you're thinking everything's for you, and it's not time for harvest. Plucking would be things had so grown to produce fruit that this season is just for you to take the fruit and eat it. God's doing things in your life. God's growing you individually. God's giving you revelation like never before. There's things in the career that's happening. There's things aligning. God is doing something in a plucking season. You have to know what season. But if you are stubborn with your thoughts, you'll delay the next season. If you're stubborn with the way you think, or if you're stuck in thoughts, you delay the next season. And I mean that kind of like this. If you're stuck in a way, and time, the way that worked, time passed. And what worked a year ago in the time that we're in, that was the way. Now time has changed, but now you're stuck in a way and not considering the time. And so you're holding on and you're stubborn with your thoughts, so you're not stepping into it. A lot of people, I remember my grandpa, he's still with us, but a lot of things started to change in his life. I saw major digress in him mentally when I started to call him, and he'd be like, well, I don't know. I don't really know what day it is. I think it's Thursday. And I was like, well, Grandpa, it's Monday. We're not even close. It's not Thursday. It's Monday, Grandpa. What are we going to do today? Well, I don't know. I think I woke up about 10 a.m. And I'm like, well, it's 9:30 right now a.m., so I know you didn't wake up at 10 because we're on the phone. But all of that to say, that's the state he is in life. But when you get to the state that time becomes irrelevant, you start to grow in, almost backwards, you start to grow in undevelopment. So I would call it even spiritual or physical deformity. You start to take on this thing that's operating backwards against you. So even spiritually, you can do that. If you're stuck in the way that revival came 10 years ago, if you're stuck in that, only God can move like this, we can only have services like this, it has to look like this is the way we did it there, this is the way I have it there. If you're stuck in that, you're stubborn in your thoughts, and God is delaying the next season for you. Because why, when the world and people and everything was so different 10 years ago in that time, now that it's this time, why would we think the way would be the same? How does time go through 10 years of change and we think the way shouldn't? It's not going to work like that. So we have to learn to figure out what is the right time. We know this already. If you have a baby too soon, it can cause effects. If you have it too late, you'd be mad about it. You'd be so mad about it. Arriving too soon at something can mess anything up because it leaves you undeveloped. So if you know the time, getting there too soon leaves you undeveloped and not ready for it. If you get there too late, it can mess things up for you. I talked about music this morning. Our worship music, you could be the best musicians on earth, the best musician on earth, and I could take 5 or 6 of you and put you all on stage together, and you would sound like trash without timing. Timing is everything. If you involve time in it, you can coordinate when things are supposed to happen to arrive at something great. Our family, the past couple of years, because of our age, has been into baseball. The boys have been into baseball. And this is what I have to say about baseball. I love baseball. It's great. But I don't care if you got the greatest coach on earth, the best technique, the best clothes. Y'all seen these baseball players. I don't care if you bought the best clothes with the most colors and you got the biggest chain and you've been to the most lessons and spent the most money. None of it matters if you don't have timing. If you don't have timing, none of it matters. Because why? Because impact to the ball all depends on timing. Somebody that has an awful stance but can time it can put a ball in play. Because timing is everything. And one of the things we have to know is how to know time. How do you know time? So in baseball, it looks like this. There's a lot of things going on, right? You got crowds yelling. You got dads meeting you at the dugout after you struck out. And you got moms hollering from the sidelines and telling coaches to hush their mouth and telling them to sit back in the box. And we do all the things at the wrong timing already. You think we get it. But you got enough pressure standing at the plate about to hit something, and then your parents go off. Step back in the box. Lean back into it. And you talk about shutdown. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. My wife, she's the best. She be on it. They walk out of the dugout, and from deck to plate, we are going through the history of baseball to figure out before we get to the plate, how, am I right? Yeah, 100%. And then we miss one, and it's more information. I'm like, this can't be the right timing. Like, this just cannot be the right timing. But the point in the information is what? To figure out timing. Are you up too far? Are you not back enough? Are you leaned wrong? Are you holding the bat? Are you not loading too soon? And so I like to say it like this. You'll never miss the timing. You'll always miss the timing if you're moved by the pressure. If you're moved by the voices, if you're moved by the crowd, if you're moved by the sounds, you'll never miss the ball if you're moved by the ball. So if your focus is the ball, you'll figure out timing. And if your focus is the pressure, you'll miss the timing every single time. So how do we figure out in this measure of time, figuring out how do we be moved by the ball and not the pressure? What is the ball in our life? I'll tell you in just a minute. You can act out of season. You can act out of season. You can do the right thing at the wrong time. You can act out of season. But acting out of season is never, ever fruitful. It's like trying to fish in a heat wave. We caught nothing. We didn't even get a bite. But right timing brings fruit and restoration and life and purpose and healing, because right timing is the answer. And anything that God is doing in your life, He wants to bring you life. He wants to bring you fruit. And if anything, what God is trying to do is always bring restoration. I remember there was a time that we hadn't lived here really long, but I was pastoring here. Me and my wife were. Pastor Cheryl was involved, and there was a family that used to be here, and we knew that they were going through some things. I just knew it, and I didn't know if only I knew it. I sat there and thought, he has to know this. Like, I don't understand why we're not talking about this, why we're not helping them, why we're not running this thing down. And I was just ready. I was just ready to go get it. I saw a problem. So finally, he pulls up in the parking lot, and I just jumped in his car. And I mean, not usually that, like, aggressive toward things, but I was like, these people need help. You have to know this, because if I know it, you got to know this. And so I jumped in his car, and I was like, Pastor Sherwood, I don't know if you know, but A, B, C, and D, these kids are going through this. This mom and dad's going through this. This is going on in their life. I can see it every day. I hear about it, blah, blah. And he's like, yes, I know about this. And I was like, well, what are we doing? You tired? Like, are we done? Well, what are we doing here? And he began to explain to me. He was like, well, Ryan, I know this is going on. But he said, if we move on it before the wrong time, we'll lose everybody involved. There will be hurt involved. Life won't be given. Death will be given. Purpose won't be placed. Misplacement will be there instead. Restoration will never happen, and it's going to infect the entire family if we do things at the wrong time. And I was like, well, we just supposed to watch this thing? What are we doing? So probably, I would say it was like 3 weeks later, 3 or 4 weeks later, and I'm still like, bro, we got to go talk to these people. Probably 3 weeks later, I see him come through a door. And all these people are behind him, and I'm like, oh, today's the day. Okay, then, here we go. Like, we finally decided to do this today. And then all I watched was that when years or months of chaos had affected a family, one meeting that day did not bust them up more. It began to restore everything they had. One meeting that day. And from then, they went on and did great things, love God, have all these things now. But I noticed something from that moment that without right timing, we would have busted them all over the place. And in right timing to wait It brought life and purpose and peace and restoration, and now the kids are fine. Mom and dad are fine. Everybody's fine. They're off doing great things for God now. And in timing, every single thing can be restored. You have fruit in timing. You can do a lot of things and still not have fruit in timing. Also, we should know this. The right information, saying the right thing at the wrong time, could still be so bad for us. Still be so bad. You can see a lady that's pregnant early and be like, honey, you are showing. And they'll show you something. But my wife was pregnant with twins. And you could see her at the end and say, well, honey, you are so pregnant. And she'd be like, I know, help me. Help me. Thank you for noticing. Take me to the doctor. Get me to somewhere that matters. Right thing at the wrong time. Your house could be a mess. And you could go in there at the wrong time and say, man, these dishes are dirty. You need help. This laundry is undone. You need help. And they could get up off of the couch and give you the help they need. Or you could walk in the middle of the right time and go, man, laundry, you need help. Dishes, you need help. And you just jump in there with them, and you came together. Versus you making them feel unqualified in a moment, and it turns into way more than dishes. Let me tell you about laundry you have, pal. Let's talk about dishes of your life. All the unclean things. So, saying the right thing in the wrong moment matters. Even, they say, like, you can say anything with love, the truth with love. Bull. No way. I could tell someone something in love and have to run from them. That was in love. What? So? Maybe not. I'm finding out this with more revelation of what's going on, that the holding of words or loosing of words is love. That the timing behind when you say, it's not just a heart thing, oh, I really love you, so I could tell you you're nuts. No. It's more the timing behind, I do love you, so I will wait and watch until you arrive in a place that you can receive from me or receive from God. And then in that time, you will receive life and purpose and restoration and healing and encouragement for what you're going through and where you're at. So if we think timing that doesn't matter, we're wrong. A lot of times we worry about this. Is it right or is it wrong? Paul said this, I try to do right and still do wrong. But then he goes on to talk about the unity and the pulling together, and the Bible talks about in one accord and how important it is to be in one accord and to have unity and to bring people together and to bring a restoration that brings life. So right and wrong alone do not bring life or fruit. But right and wrong, right with the right timing always brings fruit. Right and wrong don't bring restoration and fulfillment by themselves. Right or wrong does not bring fruit by itself. But with timing, it does. You know, timing matters because you can start something at any time. You could start a shoe business, right? You could start Nike right now. If there was no Nike, you'll probably be for a huge uphill battle. I'm Nike. Well, so? But Nike, when they started, at the time they started, with the people they connected to and the athletes that were involved, now it doesn't matter if there's 14 shoe companies or 4 million shoe companies. With right timing, what they do is sustained. So if you want to live in sustainment, you have to know God's timing on when to act, when to start things in your life, when not to start things in your life. Because things that aren't sustained in your life and the roller coaster ride you're on, a frustration of things, living and dying and high moments and low moments, most of it is just based upon us learning what timing is. Psalm says this, that if you delight in the law of the Lord, the one who meditates on it day and night, they'll be like a tree planted by streams of water that yields fruit in season, and your leaf won't wither. Do you know what time you're in? Is it yours for fruit, or is it yours for waiting? Is it yours for trusting God? I'll tell you this, conflict doesn't matter. Circumstance doesn't matter. Failure doesn't even matter. But timing matters. And how do you know time? That's one of my favorite parts. How do you focus on the ball? How are you moved by the ball? In Matthew 13, he starts the whole parable out that he's talking about time. He's trying to make us see time. He starts the whole parable, and he says this. He doesn't say, the kingdom of heaven is a man. He says, the kingdom of heaven is like. And he goes off through this tangent of what it is like. So the parable is not for us to just hear the story and know it. The parable is not there for us to memorize it. The parable is not there as a past fact. A parable, there is revelation hidden inside of it. So this is what God does. God is not hiding from exposure. God covers things for us in comparison. He's not going to tell us what the kingdom is, because we would hear it, see it, read it, and move on, and never experience it. But if he can provoke us to think, if he can provoke us to dig into the parable, if he can provoke us to get in until it is revealed to us what the kingdom is, then we would retain it. Then we would gain what it's for. Rome, my son Roman, he's also into gardening, also at the hottest part of the year ever. He's into gardening right now. He made a raised garden bed that I brought dirt home for, not realizing it is big enough to grow fruit for all of us to make it through. And so I didn't bring enough dirt home, but he's into gardening all of a sudden. So he planted this little cantaloupe plant that he's been raising. And then he looks at his mom. His mom has a lemon tree, and he looks at this tree. And honestly, he's not wrong. This tree has looked just like it looks for years now. It's like alive, but doing nothing. And she's been doing nothing. So he asked me what was wrong with it, and I was like, well, Rome, here's the deal. It's root bound. The pot's too small for it now. It needs to be repotted. We need to get soil for it. And honestly, I was giving him enough details to just make him not worry about it. Well, then he comes in the house probably an hour later, and he looks like he's been in the coal mines. Dirty, his hands, and he's behind the couch. He's even hiding his hands, and I'm like, whoa, what have you been doing? And he was like, that mom's tree, I put it in a new pot. And I'm like, okay. Where'd you get the pot come from? Well, I just found it somewhere. A big pot, I just found it out in the woods. And I was like, well, what about the soil? Because we're in North Carolina. Like, we needed to go buy soil, start it, all this stuff. I hadn't even told him all this yet. But he was like, well, I found some old pots that had some old soil all in it. I scooped them all out, put it on the pot, replanted it, and now we're good to go. And I was like, okay, well, this is great. This is great. So, but what I realized by that, it's not wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. But when he asked about the plant, what I delivered to him is enough information that he could understand at his age and his intellect. And next time, because he's acted on that, he dug, he went outside, he got dirty, he found plants, he found soil. Now the next question is going to be, well, I did all of that, but nothing's changing. It's still the same. And at that point, when we've arrived at a new level of understanding, then I'm able to say, well, here, we have to do things based on the season. And we need to wait till it's cooler. And now we have to apply water. And first, we're probably going to have to dump that soil out and go buy good soil or go get good soil and then repot it in the plant. But all of those things, when he asked me the first time, I just told him basically what it would be like to put that plant in a better place. I didn't tell him what to do, but he acted on it. And so when God is telling us what things are like and he's hiding them in comparisons, it is not because he's trying to hide the truth. It is because he is wanting to unveil it to us, but he wants us to go do the work to get there. So you know when you've been there 10 years and you've read the same scripture 1,000 times, and then one day you read it again and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from, God? I've been hearing about this for years. Are you all of a sudden had a revelation? Did God change? Did God do anything different? No. You came back to God in a time where you read and heard from Him, but you were at another place of intellect and maturity to where He released more to you. You have to see God and us as we are definitely the lesser of the intellect. So when God goes to tell us things, He has to stoop way down low and say, well, no, you won't understand, but this is what it's like. So when He's telling us these things that they're like, it's like this, we have to go, well, I'm going to go find out what it is. I'm going to go find out how I get this revealed to me. So the next time, here's what we've already done. The next time his little brother, he's going to kill me for that. Parker is his older brother. The next time when Parker wants to plant something, now Roman already has a revelation from me of what I know about planting to an extent. He's going to deliver it to the next person. Why he comes back to me for more revelation of how to go further. And this is how it works. And I'm saying all that to say, to uncover the revelations that are hidden in the Word, you have to have Jesus. Jesus is the revealer of the hidden God. Jesus is the expression on earth we have of the hidden God Himself. Isaiah 53 says this, that He is the arm of the Lord extended to us. Then it also goes on to talk about plants, that He is coming as a tender plant. And so Jesus, He's unveiling that Jesus is the ball. If you want to understand truth, if you want to understand your season, if you want to understand why you're here, why you're not moving, where you need to go next, Jesus is the unveiler to take you from comparison that you're stuck in to revelation of what's happening, of what God's talking about. He is the extension of God Himself. So as Roman goes back to the Father about the plans, he is now standing in between as a revealer to the others of what he already knows. And it operates like that. So Jesus, the revealer, came to express God, extending Himself from divinity to humanity, that He may be the expression of the hidden God for us, that we might know Him, and through knowing Him, understand Him, and in this case, understand time. Because time is what? Time is everything. Depending on your age, depending on where you get, is depending on the next time that you come to unveil comparison through Jesus. In this time, God's not having to stoop so low because you've rose up to hear His voice in a new, more mature way. In the beginning I said, if 10 years time changed but the way didn't, how do you know the way when time has changed? What's the Bible say? Who is the way, the truth, and the life? Jesus. Jesus is the answer, and timing is everything. God's not hiding. He is revealing Himself through Jesus. He is a teacher trying to explain Himself through your different levels of intellect. Does He want to reveal Himself to you? More than anything. But you have to understand timing. And you have to know Jesus to gain the revelation. There's only a couple, I would say, even spiritually and physically, poor people don't really have a care for time. So like spiritually, a lot of people that are stuck in an old way or an old mindset of thinking, or they're not growing, or they're not seeing fruit. They're not really concepting what's going on, what's happening, what the timing is for. Success in anything is knowing the timing of which to do things. You will destroy yourself in a time that's for others and think it's a time for you. But you will also destroy all others if you're in a time for them and think that time's for you. You have to know the signs of the time. People that lack spiritually or lack physically, they have no acknowledgement of signs of the time. Where's the world at? Where are finances at? Where's the market at? What's happening in this state? What's happening in this climate? What's going on in North Carolina? North Carolina and California are in two different places doing two different things. What's happening in the place that I'm living in? And what are the signs of the time? It is more about the signs of the time than even a word from the Lord. If you get a word from the Lord, it could almost kill you trying to operate in that word because you don't understand time. But if you have a word or gain a word or don't have a word, you can still move according to the signs of the time. How do I know when to plant? According to the season, according to the time, according to the heat, according to the cool, according to water, you can do all of this according to signs of the time. So you have to understand the signs of the time by understanding the weatherman. There you go, Jesus. Planting in a time, understanding the signs of the time will help you plant in success. You have to understand, most things that you plant, when you're planting, especially in North Carolina, most things are unnatural to the culture and what we're planting in. Most things are unnatural. But when you do agriculture, agros land, culture, you are changing the culture of the land to produce things. And that doesn't just happen with dumping good soil on it. It happens with knowing where to put it, when to use it, when to water it. It takes the right culture and the right timing, meaning this: just because you pray, just because you worship, and just because you read, there's not always automatic fruit. And we get frustrated in our prayer life, and we get frustrated in worship, and we get frustrated in time spent in the Word because we feel like nothing's moving and nothing's changing. But if we can do all of those things and acknowledge what seasons we are in, why are we reading this? Why does this song speak to me in worship? Why am I hung up on this chapter? Why, when I go to the Lord, is it distant? Why, when I go to the Lord, it feels like He meets me there? What time am I in will explain the encounters that you're having with things in your life with God. It will explain it. So we have to have that in our life, because if you're not understanding and you begin to pluck at the wrong time, you ruin it. And if you plant at the wrong time, you kill it. I'll say this: if you feel like you've been in a season of planting, if you feel like you're believing God for time, if you feel like you're just frustrated, also where you could be is, if you see this plant, this is the plucking stage. This would be harvest. Some of us, though, are planting. Some of you planted. Some of you put seed in the ground. Some of you invested into your kids. You invested in the family. You're investing in your own spiritual life. You invested in your business. But before anything grows up, it has to grow down. Down in the unseen is the most difficult part. Nobody knows what I'm going through down here. Nobody knows this soil is so hard. Nobody knows that I haven't had water in days. Nobody knows how difficult it is to make roots here. Nobody knows how difficult it is to attach to this land and this culture and these people. Nobody knows. But if you will trust God and you will believe for Him for timing, everything will start to be revealed. And the people that didn't understand, and the hardships that you fall, and the land that you're in will begin to change. And when it is revealed, everyone will get it. Everyone will get it. But it's about understand. If you feel like you're supposed to be in this time and you're this time, you will die there. You will stop trusting God there. You will run from family there. You'll discontinue attending church there. But if you understand, oh man, I'm just going deep. I'm just pressing in. I'm just plowing hard ground. I'm just making roots. I'm just connecting to something deeper than me. Then you can manage where you are and pray that Jesus shows you the right timing and the timing changes for when things will be revealed to you. Don't give up. He's not finished with you yet. Your fruit just hasn't been revealed. You're just working on fruit. Everybody can stand up. We're almost done. Shoo, yeah. Revelation comes through Jesus by understanding time. Sowing and reaping is a promise in the Bible, which means this: if you plant something, if you sow it into the ground, it's going to come back out. That's if you go back and kick the dirt over and pull your dead seeds back out. That is, if it just barely comes to life, it's going to produce, because that is a principle you can lean on, that sowing and reaping will happen. But as you learn to grow and fruit is revealed to you, I say it like this: there's a lot of waiting. There's a lot of frustration in waiting. There's a lot of frustration in unanswered prayer. There's a lot of frustration in things that we're hoping and believing for. There's frustration in a word you have that you feel like nothing else has happened about it, that God's not moved on it, God's not nothing. I will tell you, because God is not trapped in time, the gardener, he can manipulate it. Depending on where you are, where you have arrived through Jesus in understanding the time and the place, he can manipulate it to give you miracles. A miracle for us would be this: the elimination of time. That's why we hate time. Because the miracle would be, I struggled with this for years. I have 6 years of trauma. It's going to take 6 years of rehab. It's going to take 6 years of working on my mind. And Jesus shows up, and in one moment, trauma's gone. I had drug use. I had drug abuse. I'm dealing with alcohol. I've been in 4 rehabs. I can't get rid of it. I'm trying so hard. And then Jesus shows up, and boom, no time. It's over. It's over in your life. We're sick. We have a disease. We're battling this. We've had so many appointments. They're saying it's going to be 55 treatments before we even know that something's happening. And Jesus, boom, eliminates time. Because he can eliminate or place time. He has to set it up as a principle to make sure we're getting and not getting at the time that we're qualified to get things and not get things that's happening. But Jesus does miracles. And who he's here to reveal in our life is the gardener, the miracle worker. And he wants to remove things so that now the next process, when you plant, it's easier going down. Time says, I take this way and this way. Time says, I water now. Understanding time says, the wind's going to blow here. This season's going to do. I need to do this now. And that's going to make things happen faster than before. So we're not living in frustration and hard seasons and lonely seasons, because we're understanding time. And as we understand time from the revealer, it is showing us who the gardener is. And in that, miracles can grow in your life. My father-in-law, he's from Kentucky, Ashley's dad. I had a raised garden bed the same time as him. They look nothing alike. His garden bed was doing all kind of stuff. Yeah, Parker was saying, mine was like, we're struggling. I didn't get anything come to the top except sand. I know. So then I go talk to my father-in-law, and this is what he says. He's like, well, Ryan, he has 5-gallon buckets he brought down, Mr. Donnie. He brought all these 5-gallon buckets down. And this is what he said. Well, this is soil from my mom's property, and this is soils out from behind the mountain where I used to live, and this is something I picked up from Home Depot, and this is more hydrogen because there's more sand here. And he starts to collect all of these things in places that he used to be in gardening, and he starts to collect all these places, and then he comes and pours them in the place he is now, and stuff is growing more than ever before. And then he says this at the end of it. And that miracle grow. You just put that miracle grow on it and you'll be fine. He's country. But this is what that says to me. The people that I met in seasons, the encounter that you did in seasons, the opportunities that I had in seasons, they're not in vain. They're not for nothing. You're teaching me what to scoop up and put in the buckets of my life to come and pour out on the garden you've set me in so that I begin to see fruit quicker than ever before. Your next season of planting, your next season of sowing and reaping is not supposed to be harder than the last time. It's just supposed to bring you understanding so that you get fruit quicker. And then when you understand time, and God starts to take all of these things He did when you were 15, and the things He did when you were 35, and the people that He brought into your life, and He starts to dump them where you stand in your life, and the culture of the ground changes around you because it's adapting new soil and good soil and different elements that is producing things. And guess what happened in His garden? He grew things from Kentucky that He didn't even plant in North Carolina because they were still in the soil. You will start to reap, harvest, and fruit in your life that you did not even have to plant. You didn't even have to plant. So as you learn and grow, and as Jesus reveals God to you, He promises harvest is sooner. Answered prayer is sooner than the last time you fought for it. Word fulfillment is sooner than the last time you fought for it because you understand what time you're in. You understand what to do right now. You're not lost. You know what needs to happen. But also, harvest can come sooner because you got better. But also, as God is revealed, miracles can happen. As my father-in-law says, miracle grow. God can make miracles grow that you didn't pay the price for, that you didn't spend any time waiting for, and He will eliminate and cut time out of the process to give you the miracles you need in the season you're in. But we have to understand time. Time is everything. Timing is what initiates encounter. Timing initiates encounter with God, who's going to help us, who can cause miracles. But Jesus is the one that reveals all things. So if you want to understand time, sell out to spending time with Jesus. Let's pray, then we'll go. God, we thank You for today. What we're asking for, Jesus, is just fruit in our life. We're not asking for a season change, but an understanding of the seasons we're in, God. We're asking for the revelation that we are not alone, that we have not missed it, that we have not stepped off the road to the right or to the left, that this is not about right or wrong, that this is about timing, God. And Jesus, we ask You to reveal the time that we're in this season of life. Reveal it for the business owners. Reveal it for the ones taking out loans. Reveal it for the ones trying to see if they need to move here now. Reveal it to the ones buying things. Reveal it to the ones about to approach family members. Reveal it to the ones about to approach hardships and relationships and conflict. Reveal it to the movers, and reveal it to the ones that just came, God. I ask You, God, that we can do anything where we are if we understand the time in which we're in. That way we know the signs of what's going on in our own life, God. We just ask You to reveal it to us today, Jesus. We say we love You, and we invite You, Jesus, into our life to be the revealer of all things in truth today. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen, amen, amen. Guys, family, thank y'all so much for staying. Thank y'all for being here today. We'll see you Wednesday at 6:30 for service. Thank you so much.